Welcome to Pound for Pound ATL, arguably the best place to get facts and opinions on your Atlanta Falcons. And absolutely the best place to get your opinions in. The guys are here, the chat is ready, and the conversation starts now.
What's going on, football fans? You're watching Pound for Pound ATL Live. I'm one of your hosts, JR Clark, joined by one of your other hosts, Toby D, and hopefully joined by one of your other hosts, Mike Dub, here in a little bit. But, yeah, man, come on with it, Toby. We got to win, brother. How you feeling?
Man, we got us a win, and that's all I can ask for. Inspirational win at that, because after that game went out, I went on here to watch more football on Sunday. And normally once we lose, I watch no more NFL football.
I hear that.
The rest of the day. But I enjoyed it. That was an inspirational win.
That was a real good win, and we're going to get into a lot of aspects of it, obviously. I know there's a lot of Falcons fans out there that want to discount the win because it was, against the 1-4 Jets. But there were a lot of things to take away from this win, especially if you're looking at the first block of the season as a whole. And like I said, these are the things that we're going to get into as the show progresses. But first and foremost, how about let's just talk about the unicorn in the room.
Yes, sir.
How about a finally coming out party? As far as the public is concerned, a coming out party for one Kyle Pitts. That was super nice to see. You rolled into London without your top target. People want to say without your two top targets, but I mean Russell Gage wasn't your second even going into this game. But without your top target, without anything that really resembled a competent receiving core, and maybe this was the game that we finally needed, in a sense of you had no choice but to lean on Pitts, and and he delivered. So go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, Pitts lives for this moment. There's not a moment too bright for him, and he's already shown you, with all the weight that everyone says that people put on his shoulders and stuff like that, he is looking forward, and it showed in this game to live up to the moment of, what we all expected him to do when he got in. Now, some might not have expected much because, hey, some still salty because they didn't get the QB that they wanted in the draft. But Kyle Pitts definitely showed what he is capable of doing, and that's just, the tip of the iceberg with him and Matt Ryan. And I know Matt Ryan's eyes has to be big right now with what he's seen out of Kyle Pitts leading up into week 5.
I think so. I mean, there's that I say it's a misconception, and the only reason why I say it's a misconception is because now we have a handful of examples. There's a misconception that it takes Matt Ryan a little while to get comfortable. I think it comes down to it takes a little while maybe for Matt Ryan to gain some trust, in a sense.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Because he has to know that you're going to come down with a ball, period, point blank. And this is a type of game that I really feel me personally, I started to see it a turning point in this offense. It's something I've talked about quite a bit, the fourth quarter of the Giants game.
Right.
Okay. And in crunch time, in crucial moments, you saw Matt Ryan start to look for Kyle Pitts. You saw Matt Ryan start to finally look comfortable in this offense, whether it was a aspect of, well, I ain't got no choice, so let's go for it, grip it and rip it. I don't know. That's not for me to really, I mean, I can only speculate, I guess is what I'm getting at. But what I saw in London was the confidence grow for Kyle Pitts, the confidence in Kyle Pitts grow.
Yep.
And the confidence in this offense start to really grow. Because I'm going to go ahead and call it, and we'll get into it as the show progresses. If it wasn't for the fumble of Mike Davis and Hayden Hurst, like it don't look 27-20.
No,
And it really shouldn't even. I mean, that was kind of like garbage time, 27-20 anyway.
Right.
You know, but I will say this: the creativity of Arthur Smith really showed in this game, and the types of formations, how he lined people up. You know how. I mean, you were forced to use these guys in a certain way, but the fact that you were able to do it and still, you know, have one of your better offensive productions,
right,
you know, speaks volumes to me.
Yeah.
And you could say, oh, well, it was against the Jets. Okay, you talking about the Jets that had just won against Tennessee in overtime? The same Jets that, had they gotten one sack on Matt Ryan, would have moved them to 5th place in the amount of sacks. You know, those same Jets.
Yeah.
Yes, they may not be the greatest team. I get it. But right now, you need anything and everything to build that confidence. And this was, you know, that type of win to me.
Right. I mean, let's just face it, guys. For everyone who's talking about, well, you're looking at the level of competition. Who y'all think we're going to play? We only got 4 name brand quarterbacks right now on this schedule. And we're going to play Dak Prescott, one of them. Tom Brady, the other one. Josh Allen is the other one. And, you know, you don't have that many star quarterbacks. And Jameis Winston is the 4th one that you're going to play. Everybody else, no. So we actually, when you look at it, we got the 8th weekend schedule coming into this season. We expect to be able to do better than what we've done up to this point. But as you can see, it's taking folks a little time. Arthur Smith taking him some time to learn and trust what he has and the play calling and trust in Matt Ryan. And now you're seeing a relationship starting to flourish with him and Matt getting on the same page with what they're seeing out there on the field. And right now, 8 touchdowns to no interceptions. In the last 3 games, Doc, you can't ask for anything better from Matt Ryan after that week 2, 3 interceptions.
What was the stat line I saw? It was 836 yards, 8 touchdowns, no interceptions in the past 3 games.
Yeah.
Like, you know, yes, you could say it's against, you know, New York, Washington, and you know, the Giants, Washington, and the Jets, but look, you can only play who you can play.
Right.
And you put up 25 on the Bucks too.
Right.
You know, the only real offensive dud that you had was the first game against Philadelphia when you just couldn't get nothing going.
Yep.
Other than that, you've had good offensive production. Like, you know, you could ask for a little bit more against the Giants, but you did enough to win that game.
Right.
And this is the same Giants that, if I ain't mistaken, either beat or almost beat the Saints.
They did beat them.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they beat the Saints.
The only win.
Right. So, I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, something that irks me is as a fan base, we put too much weight on losses and not enough weight on wins.
Right.
I mean, I get it, man. Everybody wants to be salty. Understood. Fine, be salty. There's plenty enough to be salty about, but I'm going to choose to, like, enjoy the good things that I saw.
Right.
You know, I'm gonna enjoy the true, like, revelation that Cordarrelle Patterson has been.
Oh man, yeah.
Dude, that's been such a joy to watch him be our wide receiver 2 and our running back 2. You know,
right.
Which has been, you know, awesome to see, you know, somebody, whether it was the insistence of Dave Ragone, maybe he didn't get a chance to implement it like he wanted to in Chicago, and Arthur Smith said, yeah, man, bring it here and let's do it, you know, or whatever. I don't care what the catalyst is. Yeah. I'm just absolutely enjoying watching Cordarrelle Patterson each week make plays that just blow my mind as far as like where has this been all your career, you know?
I mean, it's just with the right guy, man. Arthur Smith definitely is showing his creativity. You're starting to see it. Like I said, he's getting comfortable with calling the plays and getting used to this offense that they have. I mean, we thought coming in, and you did a lot of videos on this about the tight ends and whatnot, and finally we saw it, man. 189 yards for all three of your tight ends and 2 touchdowns for the day without Calvin Ridley, without Russell Gage, and you didn't ask Tajay Sharp or Olamide Zaccheaus to do anything extra other than what they've been doing. I mean, Tajay Sharp has been your slanting guy the whole time, and they didn't ask him to do anything more, and he was having success running them slants pretty much all day.
And I was actually I was pleasantly surprised by finally finally starting to see Sharp, carve out that role, that slant role. Zaccheaus, he must have ran a mile behind the offensive line. Like every time somebody was in motion, it was generally Zaccheaus being in what looked like almost like a jet sweep type motion. So that was really interesting to see. You talk about the tight ends. Obviously, in this particular game, you were going to have to use the tight ends more. But you're talking about being in 12 personnel 28 times and 22 personnel 10 times. So, 38 times out of your 70 some odd plays, you had 2 tight ends on the field.
Wow.
And so, I mean, that's a good chunk.
Yeah.
And
big chunk.
I absolutely love the versatility of Patterson, because I've finally you really started to see, when they ran out that 22 personnel, sometimes Patterson was in the backfield and Mike Davis was split out. Sometimes Mike Davis was in the backfield and, Patterson was split out. A lot of times Patterson was split out.
Yeah.
I tell you this, it makes it hard and interesting to try to chart what formation they're in.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're sitting there going, oh, okay, who is that? Is that Cordarrelle? Is that, yes, he might be in, a wide receiver. He might be in the X, but you're still considering him a tight end, or a running back, because that's what he's listed as. So it makes for some very scheme versatility, and that was something that I've been clamoring for years now, and we're finally starting to see it. I mean, on that Kyle Pitts touchdown, there wasn't a wide receiver on the field, at all. They were in 23. It was a goal line formation, but you didn't have a single wide receiver on the field. And, you leak, Kyle Pitts out to the corner, and Matt Ryan delivers a ball that only he could catch, which is what he had to do,
Yeah. I mean, you get excited about what they want to do. They definitely want to try out a high volume playbook. It's kind of like what New England did. It's hard to really prepare for a team like that when they come out there in so many offensive formations, and the playbook it's getting bigger.
Yep.
You can tell by the amount of plays. I mean, about 70, 76, 78 plays in this game.
Yeah, I want to say it was 78. Hold on, let me get back to.
Yeah, that is wild. But that's what they've been doing basically all season, with the exception of 1 or 2 games where they weren't able to do that. But I mean, you got this offense right now averaging 67.1 plays a game, which is over the average of the 64, 65 plays. And they definitely showing you that's what they want to do, from running that no huddle and being able to call plays. Him and Matt Ryan, you can tell, man, they are getting very, very comfortable with each other. And he already said off Smith that during the press, hey, I love some Matt Ryan.
Right.
And hey, let's go. That's all I got to say.
I'll say this. I mean, obviously, I hope it continues. I hope the confidence continues to build and then things of that nature. But, you see some of the, even to the point where the commentators are having to make it, the tight window throws that Matt Ryan is pulling the trigger on and making. I mean, that touchdown to Hayden Hurst, that touchdown basically, that throw drug him into the end zone.
Yeah.
Let him in there. Right. It led him right into, and I know I've heard not all of, but the vast majority of Ryan's career is that he can't throw nobody open. Well, I'm going to go ahead and call it on that touchdown. He threw that touchdown. He threw Hayden Hurst into the end zone. Like, he led him in between both those safeties and threw him into the end zone.
Yep.
And that was,
He did.
I was very impressed with that throw. Fred Butts, our good man Fred Butts, just tipped us $5. Thank you so much, Fred.
Fred Butts.
He said, this game could have turned our season around. Looks like MVP Matt looks explosive. I mean, he definitely looks like that confidence is starting to build. I ain't going to lie to anybody. Those first 2 games, he looked like a 14-year quarterback who was seeing ghosts.
Yeah.
And I said it more than once.
Yeah. And that offensive line is the reason why. And that's why we got to give a shout out to a guy we was hoping that would be able to get this offensive line turned around. Dwayne Ledford. He's been amazing through these 5 games, man. To see those guys to be able to do what they're doing right now. I mean, no sacks in this game. And the physicality they showed when pushing Mike Davis into the end zone. And we saw that in 2015 when Devontae Freeman got pushed into the end zone against the Dallas Cowboys, if I'm not mistaken, in week 3 in that game. And now to see that coming back with Dwayne Ledford and how he had these guys playing, man, and you can take your lumps with Jalen Mayfield if he gets a couple false starts here and there, because he's definitely improved since week 1.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, whether you, like, however much, like, faith, or not faith, but however much credit you put into PFF, like, I could take or leave PFF. Sometimes it's a good way to show progress. But sometimes, like when you're trying to use PFF to compare players to each other, it can get a little sketchy. But, if I'm using it as a metric of just, grading week-to-week performance of a player against himself, Jalen Mayfield has improved, each week. And even when he went up against, the Washington's defensive line, he stepped back just a little bit, but he picked it right back up against the Jets. So I'm really glad to see him, making that progress. Now I need to see McGarry make some more progress. He's the one right now who, via PFF, has been the weakest link so far. So I need to see him start to live up to that, first round, like, capital. Even though, I mean, obviously that's not his fault per se that the team tried to back up to get him, but that regime thought highly enough of him. So I need to start seeing some stuff. But yeah, the offensive line, the fact that they gave up 0 sacks in that game, and not just the offensive line, you started to see, Ryan, throw the ball away a little bit more and get rid of it. And, so you're starting to see the whole process, come together. Which is that, like I said, at this point, that's still my biggest gripe. We could have been at this point earlier in the season had they made the decision to play, the offensive line in the preseason at minimum, but they didn't. So we knew then it was going to take a little bit. That's what I said that's what we all have said. And most of us know that with this, zone blocking scheme, it takes reps. It's like a dance. You've got to do it to learn it. And so you're finally starting to see that. Well, that is our opening salvo. So let's go ahead and jump into this chat and see what's going on in here. Asia Green said, "Hey, what's going on, Asia? Glad you're in here."
Hey.
Same thing with Joseph Thornton and Chris Jameson, Uncle Javon, and Fall Start Falcon. All y'all said, "Hey, what's going on, folks? Glad y'all are in here with us tonight." Woon Carter's up in the building. He says, "Rise up, pound for pound, family." It feels great to go into the bye week with a victory. That was big. You much rather go into the bye 2-3 instead of 1-4. That's a a big difference. Let's see. Uncle Javon says, "Same, Toby. I don't watch a thing for a whole week if we lose." Yeah, I mean, I have to admit, if we lose, it takes the wind out of my sails about watching anybody else. Let's see. Fred Butt says Kyle Pitts showed out. that game could turn our season around. We'll see. We'll see what transpires. Ghost Pepper's up in the building. What's going on, Ghost? Same thing with Dexter Vlash. Or Dexter Vlash, excuse me. Chris James says Richie Grant looked good too. Good to me.
Talk about that.
No more Harris. That's something that's going to be interesting. There's a point that somebody brought up that I want to get into after we run through this. But yeah, remind me if I don't get into the Richie Grant thing. Remind me to get back to that. False Start says Kyle Pitts is going to be just fine. Felipe Franks needs to sit back and take notes because if he grasps this offense, Arthur will give him a shot to run with it. Just my thoughts. We'll see. I'm more interested in like Josh Rosen, to be completely honest. Like Felipe Franks could be interesting, but I think he's still a little too raw, I guess. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Anonymous says Jets have a good defense. Their offense is what's holding them back at the moment. Yeah, they got a rookie QB. That's holding them back at the moment. And, for them, you hope that, he gets it going. Because coming out, I like Zach Wilson a little bit. I think he got crapped on quite a bit in the drafting process. I don't know if I would have taken him second, but it's on him to prove that that's what they should have done. Let's see. True Black says, what up, Falcons Nation? It's been a while since I've been able to watch live. Just got back from deployment. Man, welcome back, brother. I'm glad you're here.
Glad to have you back.
Yeah, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Where did you deploy to, if you don't mind me asking? Because I'm always interested in that. My best friend was in the military for quite a long time. So all that's kind of interesting to me. Superstar FVR says, we beat a healthy Giants team. Nobody said a word. Cowboys beating injury Giants, people go nuts. So can be as good as any team out there. So that's the thing is like nobody said, anything about the wins that the Bucks have had. You know what I'm saying? Or nobody's talking anything about how Baltimore had to go to overtime with the Colts.
Right.
And there was another example. It may have been nobody's worried about the Chiefs having the exact same record as we do. People pick and choose whether it fits their narrative or not. Let's see. Anonymous says, read somewhere on Twitter that the coaches may have been waiting until after the bye to get these rookies more time because of the remaining schedule would simulate a college season. That was the point I wanted to get into. So we'll go ahead and get into it here. That was something I read. I think it was Arthur Smith said something about the rookie wall, how, rookies will hit it about week 15, week 14, week 15, something like that. So, with him bringing that up, people thought that maybe it was a deal where, he wanted to wait a little bit longer so that these rookies wouldn't necessarily hit that rookie wall. So I wondered what you thought about that thought process.
Well, I think, I read that on Twitter. Someone had put that out there about, because, he talked about a 12-week, basically the 12-week season, which is what you have typically in college, football or whatnot. And they was feeling like maybe that could mean this is why he didn't rush these rookies out here, because he didn't want to, one, wear them out with so much on his plate, and then two, it's a 17-game season, and you give them, a chance to really get things going. I think, for me, Arthur Smith is always talking about natural progression or whatnot. He's not one that's going to force anything, and he's, that's why he don't like really talking about scheming a lot, because he'll give it time for these guys to get into what it is that they're looking for him to do. And I think it was just one of those things. Big Mike, what's up, man?
What's going on?
Hey, man, somebody win.
Yes, sir.
I think it was, go ahead.
No, man. Like I said, man, it's just like I said, a little late, but glad to be here. Glad to be here. Glad to talk in with my boys. Man. Nothing else I'd rather be doing right now, brother.
Yeah, we definitely glad that you're able, you were able to join us. That is huge there because somebody was mentioning the echo. I think I got it fixed on my end. So hopefully that echo should be gone now. So we should be good there. Boy, if y'all only knew the amount of like interesting technical difficulties I've had tonight. You see that I'm not in front of my green screen. Like I use my phone, for my camera, and I broke my phone today. So I had to scramble and grab a different camera, and it doesn't like the green screen. So yeah. And then, it's just been, look, it's always an interesting technical time with the Pound for Pound family.
Absolutely.
Before we get back in, before we jump into it, I don't want to lose this. Matty Ghost tipped us $5, which we appreciate, Matt. He says Matt Ryan looks like 2016 Matt Ryan. We just aren't as talented as that year. Lack of weapons at wide receiver and not as stout of a defense. Yeah, I mean, I get it. Like I said, what I saw and what I'm, at least, especially if this season continues to go the way it has, what I'm going to dub the turning point was that fourth quarter in that Giants game. Because that fourth quarter in that Giants game is when it really looked like, something, a perception maybe, switched in Ryan's mind maybe. I don't know how else to say it other than it almost looked like finally he just said, all right, fine, F it. It's time to grip it and rip it and let the chips fall where they may kind of thing. And so that was something that, if this season continues to go and this offense continues to look the way it does, for me, I mark that down as a turning point.
Yeah.
So let's
All
right. So I'm going to jump back into chat here. Let's see, where was I at? Oh, it's okay. Ghost Pepper says, anybody heard any updates on Ridley? Unless I missed it, whatever it is has been kept tight-lipped secret. If it's an injury, don't they have to post it that at some point during the week? Yeah, if it's an injury, he's not on the injury report. Keep that in mind. Whatever it is,
right.
It's not an injury. It is definitely a personal issue which they do not have to post.
Right.
Like, part of me wonders, like, was he worried about international travel? Like, as far as like COVID was concerned, I don't know.
Possible,
what I'm saying? If it wasn't that, then it was probably something to do with his family. Like, we will know for sure, coming out of this bye week. If he misses another game, then I'm really gonna start to get worried. Like, in the sense of, is it, because there's been a handful of those press conferences where, he didn't look like he was in a good space, like body language wise and stuff like that. So I don't know, but no,
I don't know, man. But I'll tell you what I do know. These rookies got them a hefty amount of snap, and they look good, all of them. Adi days, I got to talk about them because his pass was very strong Sunday. And the things that Rich was able to come out and do, and I think he does know how to use guys, man, when putting them in advantageous situations. Man, shout out to Jalen Hawkins. I mean, this guy right here, man. That's our future, right? Him and Richie Grant are going to be great safety for the Atlanta Falcons, like man, down the road. I think even this year they could take over the mantle over Harris. And Harmon, I love his soul, but I don't think he's going to be the starter too much longer. I think Rich and Jalen Hawkins are about to take this thing over somewhere in the middle of the season. That's just my personal opinion.
You know what? I'm glad you touched on that. So Jalen Hawkins is one guy. First and foremost. Shout out to Jalen Hawkins. He graded at like a 90, I believe, on the PFF score. I mean, highest by a mile, right? So he played really good. well, right? Makes you kind of wonder why haven't we found creative ways to get him on the field to this point. Because I do think that he had a really good preseason. He was one of the guys I expected to plug in and play. But also, like I said, to your point, shout out to Richie Grant. If Richie Grant did nothing else, he made a lot of naysayers get quiet on Sunday, because the question was, can he play? Can he adjust to the game? Yeah, he's had some rough goals of it, on special teams. But I think, he's a guy that you got to give him the reps. Like, this is a team where coming out of the bye, whether we like it or not, they're going to compete every game, right? So I think it'll be interesting to see when we come out of the bye, how we kind of move around with these chess pieces. Because I believe, we don't know the extent of Fabian Moreau's injury.
Right.
I think, it's a lot to watch over this bye week as well, too. This won't be a quiet bye week, by any means.
No, you're definitely right about that. Not a quiet bye week. They've already been making some minor roster moves. They brought back the tight end Heese or whatever his name is. They've already brought him back. They let go of a kicker, Elliott Fry. So, they have been working out a safety, Will Parks. They worked him out. So that may actually be pointing towards Eric Harris's injury. Might be a little bit more than what we initially thought. If they're looking at bringing in another safety, that's something to keep an eye on there. But no, I don't think it's going to be a quiet bye as far as the roster is concerned. Apparently, we were still having a bad echo, but I think I fixed it now. Sorry about that, folks.
Is it me?
No, it was me on my end. When using Skype, something I've told y'all, I brought up before, I have to keep everybody but one of y'all muted, because if not, it'll come through multiple times. And I didn't realize it, but I had my mic unmuted. So that was my bad, as they say. But I think I got it fixed now. All right, so back into okay. Tony Wright says, question for both JR and Toby. I said, did both of you scream at the TV too to knock him out of bounds, as I did when Tevin Coleman was running that kickoff back up the sidelines? And the reason why I wanted to read that is that's something that you, Toby, you have brought up when coming out of the half and kicking off. It seems like there's a pattern developing. So I wanted you to talk about that.
So one of their formulas is when I noticed this in the Giants game, when they go into halftime with a lead, they want to come back out and try to pin the team behind the 20.
Right.
That's their goal to do. And they've kicked it in the same spot all three times, from the Giants game, the Washington game, all the way to this one. The first time it worked with the Giants, because they was able to get a 3 and out and get the Giants off the field and get the ball back. Second time, Washington, they peaked that. Look, if I'm a fan and I can peak that, Washington, that's what they get paid for. These players, coaches get paid to be able to scout this type of stuff. You're going to kick that ball in the same spot like that, you give up a touchdown. Then you're going to do that again in this game, in the Jets game. And I saw Arthur Smith was getting mad, but they're going to probably have to look at that strategy in the bye, because right now that's not working. If you got a lead and coming back out, because teams are knowing this and they're able to block you up well on that side, which they was able to do against the Falcons special teams, block it up well. Tevin Coleman was able to bust through there and get gone down the field. Even though he didn't score the touchdown, still the same result, because they didn't have to travel far to score a touchdown. Right. Once Zach Wilson then got down there. So that's definitely one of their formulas that they felt good about and wanted to use now. But I am glad they did for this week anyway, change up the other formula where they want to try to run the clock out if they got a lead. They got more aggressive this time in that fourth quarter when they knew they needed to have a score. They wasn't trying to be conservative and running the football. They let it fly and let Matt Ryan have it. And Arthur Smith said, Matt Ryan wanted it. He called it up and gave it to him. And I'm glad they changed that. Now I'm hoping they stay that way at times. Look, there's a time to run with that football, to run the clock out if it's working.
Right.
But if it's not really working that well, you got to do something different.
I will say this, I've been a little harsh, on this run game. And even though combined, Cordarrelle Patterson and Mike Davis had over 100 yards So I think it was close to 120 yards.
Yeah,
a little less. It was 54 for one and 56 for the other. So like 110 yards combined. The run game still isn't like where it was for him in Tennessee. Obviously,
right.
because you don't have a dynamic running back like you did
Right.
in Tennessee, and he knows that, right? And I think, the first few weeks he was like, that's all right, I can produce a run game. So, which I agree. Like, you take like his ability to produce a run game and then pair it with a dynamic running back such as Henry, and you get a 2,000-yard rusher, right?
Right.
Okay. Now, you take one aspect of it, which is his ability to produce a run game, but then you don't pair it with a dynamic rusher, and you have what we have right now, which is a decent run game, okay?
Right.
So, if what you can produce is a decent run game, then I need you to lean on your strengths when you need to close a game out. And your strength right now when you're closing this game out is, Matt Ryan hooking the ball. Whether it's to Kyle Pitts, whether it's to the versatility of Cordarrelle Patterson, like however you want to, label it, that's what this, the strength of this team is right now. Now, down the line, once this, offensive line really gets set, and they're blowing, because this past game was probably the best game I saw of Mike Davis this whole season.
Right.
Like this game changed. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, but to that point though, JR, this is the most cohesive that I've seen the offensive line, right? Like I would say, that also goes into, and I don't know if we touched on it earlier, but it just goes into the growth of, the Jalen Mayfields, the Hennessy, bro. I do think that the cohesion is starting to be there. Now, again, I don't know what a bye week does for such a young offensive line. Like, I think they just still need to keep playing, still get game reps. Almost a bye kind of slows down what we're doing. You don't want these guys to go home and kind of start thinking they're doing well.
Right.
And then it's another, and we're back at square zero. But I do think, to your point, they go as the offensive line goes. I think Jalen Mayfield probably played his most complete game as a rookie on Sunday. And I think that's why, the running game kind of went well. Because what I realized about Mike Davis is he needs a little bit of a hole. Yep. He's not going to be able to off the arm tackles or anything. Like, he's got to get ahead of steam. Or if not, he's just kind of a sitting duck.
Well, that's the same deal. Like, even as dynamic as Henry is, that was something I noticed with Henry. Like, if you stop Henry before he gets motion going, it's almost like the Juggernaut. If any of y'all are X-Men fans, you got the Juggernaut. As long as you could keep him from getting moving, he wasn't nearly as much of a threat. But, you let him start building up any momentum, and it's over with, right? Same deal with Henry, and it seems like the same deal with Mike Davis. He needs a little bit of a hole. Now, Cordarrelle Patterson, I love watching him run. I do not like watching him run up the middle. He needs to be on, like, stretch plays, to where he can use his shiftiness and his vision, just running him straight up the middle. I know you got to. It's one of those things that, all right, I know I'm probably not going to succeed with this one, but you gotta, just to keep everybody honest, because you don't want defenses keying in on what you're doing. But every time I see him go straight ahead, I'm like, that's not what I want. That's not what I want to see. But anyway, so let's get back here in the chat. Tony Wright also says it was good to see 4th round pick Darren Hall get some playing time. I really think he will do good things. Yeah, I'm starting to, you're starting to see these rookies log in some more game time. The interesting thing, right, is still the lack of playing time for Michael Walker. So I don't know if it's because they see him more as what Dion and Foye are doing, but we'll see how that transgresses. He's a guy who I would like to see on the field more. Tasman TV, what's going on, Tasman? Says,
what's up, Tasman?
Arthur Smith made it very clear that he will be aggressive from now on. Like, also something else that we got to keep in mind, folks, is Arthur Smith, this is his first rodeo as a head coach. So, he's like, he may have made a decision thinking, okay, this is how I want to do it. And then as he started doing it, going, okay, this isn't really working. I need to adjust.
Right.
So you're going to see growing pains as well with him. Let's see. Chris Jameson, he's trying to put everybody on a milk carton. He said Mike Davis could be on that milk carton soon. Good Lord, he's going to put everybody on a milk carton.
Hey, Chris, while we talking about it, Chris, because you are the king of the milk. You the milk carton king. Like I said, nobody is better with the milk carton talk than you. But the milk carton company did call, and they said that if Stephen Means actually makes another splash play again, they're not going to cut him off, but they did acknowledge that Stephen Means played a game last week, because if you look really, he had a good pressure. And if you looked even closer, like I did, he played 40 plays in the game. So shout out to not only Stephen Means, but Tyler Davison. They both finally made first splash plays of the season. Not ready to get off the milk carton, not even close, but good milk carton talk for a win.
That is your milk carton segment, brought to you by Mayfield.
Carton segment.
Oh man, Ghost Pepper says you can tell CP was underutilized everywhere he played before now. Falcons need to sign him to a long term and let him be one of their key producers in this scheme. Like, you can tell, like, there's been plenty of other examples of players who got typecast, kind of like actors get typecast into a certain role, and nobody wanted to give them a chance. So I'm glad to see the versatility of CP84 getting shown on our team. That's kind of nice to see. Antoine Wartime TV says, I said last week, let's go win 8 games straight now. We have to go in 7 games straight. Let's go make it playoffs. And look, I ain't ready. I ain't going for playoffs just yet. I'm glad to see a cohesion starting to form. Now I need to continue to see this cohesion. Donald Farrell says, what's up, P for P? Same thing with Iron Mike. What's going on, guys? Glad y'all are here. Somebody says, let's see. Ryan Weiss said, did y'all not see the Patterson run on that 4th and 1? That was a good run, okay? That was an amazing run. I don't know the last time we actually got that many yards on a 4th and 1 when we ran it up the middle. So I'll take it back. Fine. I'll give him a little bit, but I still don't want to see him run up the middle. The Real and Tasman TV are saying that I'm liking what they're seeing with Wayne Gallman. I am liking Wayne Gallman. I wanted to see him get a little bit more involved myself, because when he has been out there, he has looked pretty good.
Pretty dynamic.
Chris Roberts says, fellas, I want to ask the panel, do you think this year's team is better than last year's team, and why? Enjoy the show. That's an interesting question.
That is a great question.
Okay, talent-wise, I don't think we are as talented as we were last year. I mean, obviously, like number 11 is on another team. I think under this coaching, guys like McKinley may have performed a lot better than they did. It's really hard to say, because I think Keanu Neal would have looked real good in this scheme. Now, Ricardo Allen, maybe Dean Pease could have used that that supposed smarts. But all in all, I think last year's team was more talented. I think this year's team is so far is better coached.
Yeah, I'd have to agree, right? Like, I'll dovetail right off you, JR, when I say that. I mean, if you just look at the receiver position, take Julio Jones out of the mix. I mean, you still had Calvin Ridley and Gage and Hurst, and even as a receiver 3, Russell Gage was able to put up a 100-yard receiving game.
Right.
Multiple, right? So I would say the scheme last year, they probably had more talent last year. They underperformed last year, but they were considered mostly a veteran team last year. Now, do I think the team this year is better? I do. I will tell you why. Because we are winning as a Falcons team the cohesive way. We're winning with no names at receiver, and we're turning them into names, right? We and I'll say this, right? And let me explain that a little bit. Kyle Pitts, true enough, had his best game as a rookie, but we didn't go in the game expecting Kyle Pitts to go off for 120 yards. We were like, what did we say on the show last week, guys? Somebody has got to step up.
Yep.
Tajay Sharp did enough to step up. He played his role, played it well. Zacchaeus, did probably the best he could with what he could, right? I think being able to get max value out of this team this year, I think makes this team, I would say, a little bit more cohesive than last year. But the expectations were higher last year. Like the way we were losing last year was indicative of going back to the dreaded 28-3 conversation. Right. It was indicative of the mindset. We had a losing mentality. This is a team that I believe when it gets to the fourth quarter, if they have a lead, they believe they might actually be able to win the game. That in itself is enough for me to say that this team is probably in a better position to win. Not that it's a better team than last year. Toby D, what you got, baby?
Not a better team, but better coaching in the record.
Yeah.
You're 2-3 for the first time in a long time.
2017?
Yeah, you haven't been there. And in 2017, the first 5 games, you were 3-2.
Right.
After that, 1-4, 1-4, 0-5.
Right.
The 2-3, you're giving yourself a chance coming out of this bye to even that up against the Miami Dolphins. I have to give credit to the coaching. Yes, they made some mistakes. Truly, they have. But they figured out how to use these guys in order to maximize what they need to get 2-3. And that's basically what I was saying. If they can get 2-3 going to the bye, I'm good with that. I didn't expect them to get 3-2, 4-1, because looking at how they were playing, they had a lot to still learn and build that cohesion.
Right.
And if that offensive line continues to trend upward the way that they're doing, Matt Ryan is going to tear some people up. I mean, and y'all know I was critical on Matt Ryan after that first 1 or 2 games.
We were, and as we should have been.
And yeah, right.
But,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree.
They need him to play at a high level. They have to have him, and that's what he's doing right now. And we talked about that.
I like fire though. Like the only problem, like matter of fact, while we talking about it, because as the leader, I got to be critical on him because we knew it was there.
Right.
We seen it, but this is, I would say for me, still one of the most frustrating things about our quarterback because it took him a little too long. Like I said, it was like the car that took a long time in the morning to warm up before it's got to go. I'm not here to say at year 14 you need to be a push to start, right? But I think in year 14, we need you to be able to get the team. I mean, with the best you got, man, to get the troops rallying to go. I just think that he started a little bit slow, but he does seem like he's heating up. He seems like he's comfortable with Arthur Smith. And I think the fire that I saw in him against the Jets, I want to see what that, does for this team, right? Because tired of it. He's getting everybody to go, and let's get it. That type of urgency, let's hope it can be sustained. Because if it can, a lot of teams going to have to.
No, I think so. Like the things that you were starting to see quite a bit, which is something that we're going to get into on. Like, we're not going to have a live show on Friday because obviously there's no game to, prep for, so to speak. But what we are going to do is put out a show on Friday, or on Saturday rather, more like a state of the Falcons, where we're going to really dive deep into the things that we're seeing, trends, stuff like that, And so, but one of the things that I was noticing is that it seems like the play action pass game is starting to really heat up, and that's real good as far as Ryan is concerned. Once he gets to where he can, I'll put it like this: once he gets to where he can start and trust the fact that he can turn his back to the defensive line, even if it's for a split second, that's when it's starting to get dangerous for opposing defenses.
Hey, you know what? It's funny. It's interesting you bring that up, Jared, because I just had a thought. Like, the way the Falcons won on Sunday looked like an AFC team. What I mean by that is we finally saw 2 tight ends cause havoc, right? We saw the way Arthur Smith used, I would say, his teams in Tennessee, solid run game, getting good run yards, getting production out of both of your tight ends, which I think that also was good for Hayden Hurst as well. Now, if Hayden Hurst can hold on to the doggone ball, please, because every time he touches the ball, he either scores or fumbles, which whatever.
Look, hey, y'all, not to derail you, but y'all notice he started almost celebrating a little too soon on that touchdown.
Oh my God!
I was like, Hayden, what are you doing?
JR, this is the second straight year this guy's done.
He's
this.
like,
Now,
he wouldn't have flipped that ball just a little too soon.
Golly, man. Like, look, it's a contract year for you, Hayden.
That's right.
I'm going to need to run to the end of the end zone,
then
do
celebrate.
whatever you
Go out the back of the end zone, then celebrate.
I don't trust the Hayden Hurst touchdown until he runs to the back of the end zone with the ball in his hand, because fumble right before he gets there. But anyway, I think if you look at the way, you know, Delaney Walker and the other guy that the Titans had last year, I think the Falcons won a game kind of like that,
right.
you know, just a group collective effort. So if Hayden Hurst can take that confidence again, him scoring, touching the end zone with Arthur Smith as a coach, got to mean a lot for him, because he's underperformed up to this point. So again, it's the Jets. I know people are like, yeah, it's the Jets. You beat the teams you kind of were supposed to be. You're beating the bottom dwellers. But I think you got to win in the NFL, and you got to be able to build off those. So,
you know, to that notion of you beat the bottom dwellers, I'm going to put it to you like this, folks, and I hate to be so blunt about it. Right now, we are the bottom dwellers. Okay?
Yeah.
So right now, we're beating our peers. And look, you can climb out. Okay, this is gonna be a rough statement here. Y'all just go with me. You can climb out of the hole standing on dead bodies. Okay, and so right now we're in a pit of despair with a lot of other bad teams. There's only one way to get out of it, and that's to climb. And if that means climbing over the dead bodies of other teams of despair, so be it.
Hey, and while you're talking about it, JR, we don't seldom talk about other teams, but don't you think that the Seattle Seahawks would be chomping at the bit to have somebody like number 2 back there right now with the injuries they're dealing with? And I believe they've got a 2-3 record too.
Right.
So look at the company that we're in with 2-3 records. These were a lot of teams that had Super Bowl aspirations, any of that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
So I think this is the part of the season where, you know, we got to this is where coaching, we always talk about coaching matters. This is going to be where coaching matters. We've gone to London. Like I said, we talked about this last week on the show. Trips to London are good for an Atlanta Falcons team, because you get to go to another country, you get to bond with your bros, you got a long flight, you won, so you know the energy was good. You come back from that long flight, then you get a little bit of a time, you know, off to kind of recharge and rejuvenate. This team is going to be a closer team, and with a first-year head coach, with a, you know, rookie head coach, with all the team that, like, I can't see it as a negative thing for this team, us getting that win. Now, we'd have lost. I think talking a lot more. It'd be pretty toxic this week.
Yeah, no, it'd have been bad. It'd have been real bad. All right, back into the comments. Woe says yes, better coached for sure. Give coaching staff, 2 years. Exactly. That's kind of where we're at there. Ryan said I would take Pitts over Julio any day. I will take a young Pitts over an old Julio. Prime is yet to be decided. Yeah. Okay. We haven't seen what prime Pitts looks like, but
right.
That's, so I'll put it. Yeah. I'll put it like that. Blizzard Wolfgang says the young Julio versus a Pitts. That's hard to decide. That's kind of where I'm at right now. Donald Farrell says deep ball looking good. See, that was something I was worried about early on in the season. I don't know, if y'all remember me saying it or not, but that 39-yard rope to Kyle Pitts looked real nice on Sunday.
And I'm quick on that, JR. Matt Ryan is going to realize he's still got to give Kyle Pitts a little bit of air too, because I don't even think Matt Ryan believed how fast Kyle Pitts got down the field on that 39-yard run.
And he admitted that.
Oh, yeah.
It caught him off guard.
Yep.
If he'd have known he was going to be that fast, he would have let him out a little bit more.
That would have been let me tell you something. All right. Okay. So anyway, we've covered that one enough. Yeah. Like, we just see what happens.
Genuine Music says, do y'all think Andrews will start when he comes back with Mayfield? No, not unless Mayfield gives him the reason to. There's no reason to right now. Like, would they have started the season with Andrews? I believe they would have.
Yeah.
But no, you have drug Mayfield through the fire. You don't pull him now.
Yep.
You don't pull him now. Lonnie don't lie. Okay, I had to read that for a second. He tipped us $5, which we very much appreciate, Lonnie. He says, I feel like Art is starting to realize he has a QB that can really close out a game with his arm. In Tennessee, that was not necessarily the case. That's all of that is part of it. Like, and is part of realizing, Arthur Smith is like you're in it now. You're starting to see what your guys are actually capable of in a game situation. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Right. And so, it's a deal where you've seen a lot more Lee Smith. You've probably seen a lot more Lee Smith than you necessarily wanted to. But
his entire career.
Boy, we that pickup, didn't we, boy?
Well, I say, but doesn't it have some shades of Levine Toilolo?
Yep.
Like you have a guy who, when he's in there, 95% of the time, he's blocking somebody. Right. And you're starting to lull a defense to sleep. Even when you push him out wide, he's blocking somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So then that one time you push him out wide and actually send him across the formation,
right?
He's standing there wide open.
Right. Yep.
Are you going to get a Lee Smith chunk play every game? Probably not. But there's going to be some games where nobody's accounting for Lee Smith. And what they've shown you is that if you ain't accounting for him, I'm going to throw to him.
I'm going to hit him.
That's it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
We didn't see this. I didn't see it. We was, when we was texting about it. Matt Ryan is averaging 41 attempts a game, first 5 games. And that's something that Tannehill was not doing.
Right.
The 2 years that Smith was there. As a matter of fact, his attempts was under probably 35.
No, that was the thing. You're hitting it right on the head, Toby. His attempts were between 20 and 27 attempts a game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you saw the excitement when Smith got here. Talking about Matt Ryan's 55,000 yards, in the NFL thrower. So he's starting to see that he can trust Matt Ryan a little bit more now, because it was all about, he was hearing it, but he needed to see it for himself. And now him and Matt Ryan, they get that pass pro. That seems like to be their strength right now, the pass pro. And you can tell 342 yards. This was his best game in the 300 yards. This week.
I can almost guarantee. Go ahead, Mike.
No, I agree. No, I was just agreeing.
Okay.
And I thought, I think he did it on a. I think what, one thing that's understated too is Matt, this offensive line, and it goes back to the offensive line. That same defensive line got 7 sacks against the Titans.
7.
0 clean sheet. Matt Ryan doesn't get sacked. Matt Ryan throws for 342 yards.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's hope the more they cook that recipe, I'll drink the Kool-Aid a little bit. If the offensive line,
look again at this junction, and it's great to see the chat recognizing it well. Tasman saying, "I love how the O line is getting together as a cohesive unit." Woo Wee says, "Offensive line giving Matt Ryan confidence, rising up." And that's the thing, is that was what I was, saying early on in the season. It really looked like Matt Ryan definitely wasn't comfortable back there. And, I don't know, if it's just the, cohesion. We're finally getting, playing together, which goes back again to the misstep, in my opinion, of not playing your O-line in the preseason. That's, and I wonder if you won't see that happen again, like next year. It'd be interesting, next year, to see, oh no, we're going, they're going to play, kind of thing. But, all that, I can almost guarantee you, coming from the Titans and what they were doing up there, I don't think Smith was looking for 300 plus yards a game. I don't think that was even in his head. And I wonder if it was a deal where, as him and Matt Ryan are starting to finally get on the same page, Ryan's look, let me do it. I can do this. This is what I do, And
that's without Calvin Ridley. Like I said, that's without our genuine receiver one. And I think, like I said, the bye week will cover up all of that, because, as much as we talk about the personal issues, Calvin Ridley comes back with Matt Ryan with a gelling offensive line. That takes a lot of, because I think Kyle Pitts will continue to get bracketed. It's just gonna happen. You got to bracket him, and he's too big to miss. But maybe that puts Ridley in some one-on-one situation. We'll see what happens with the personal issues, but I think, like I said, we have enough. And I would say this. I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there. I don't know what Russell Gage is going to look like after the bye, but I personally think Tajay Sharp is our number 2.
Yeah, Tajay Sharp was the one that I was interested about because he is a bigger body receiver, and Matt Ryan historically has thrived with a bigger body. I mean, your number 2 is supposed to be a bigger body guy anyway. That was the problem that I had initially with our wide receiver core, is that they're all almost the same.
Right.
You know, as far as height and weight and, you know, ability, the types of routes they run. Like Ridley obviously was head and shoulders above everybody else, but, you know, Gage, Blake, Zacchaeus, they're all in that same like mold of a shifty wide receiver. So I was glad to see Tajay Sharp really starting to get into the mix this past game, and hopefully that is something that will continue. Big Truck Trap Star says we should trade Ridley. I bet he does not get to next season as a Falcon. I don't know what the personal issue is. That could be a million other things, but it's something that I have been mentally like saying for a while, is that I wonder if Ridley is the, you know, type of receiver for Smith's system. Like Smith seems to be more of like, I want to build a physical team, and Ridley is definitely a finesse guy. You know, we may not have seen it as much the last, you know, couple years with him being the number 2, but that glaring spotlight of him being a finesse guy is definitely shining bright these first, you know, 4 games that he's played. So it will definitely be interesting to see how it goes forward, because even in routes right now, Cordarrelle Patterson is far more physical than, you know, Calvin Ridley is. So it'll be interesting to see how the rest of this. I ain't saying he should be traded. I'm just saying at this junction, and it's something I've been saying for a while. It wouldn't surprise me if he wasn't picked up. You know, if his, you know, they already exercised his 5th year, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. So, they picked it up.
So that's next year. So I don't know if he's going to be traded, and he may be back, but I'll be interested to see if he gets another contract from us.
Yeah.
Because
I'll say that. Oh, go ahead.
I was just say, because by the time that comes around, he's going to be what, like 28 years old or something like that, and he's going to be seeking 20 plus million a year. And I don't know, you know.
I still don't know who the Falcons are right now.
Right.
So we don't know what the personal issue is, but I'm not ready to say that Arthur Smith is going to run his offense through his tight ends. I mean, it looked doggone good when he did do it on Sunday, but we don't know if that's going to be the case. Now, if that is the case, and Kyle Pitts is going to be the leader of that train, now there's some conversation that will be had. I also will say this: pump your brakes on Gage, because I think Gage offers a little bit more in his route tree than Blake does, or Olamide, or Sharp. What I like is that they did not ask Olamide or Sharp to do anything more than what they had been doing. And up to this point, Sharp hasn't shown a lot of versatility in his route running, other than being the king of the slants.
Right.
He's basically been your Michael Thomas.
Right.
For the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, this is one thing we joke about Michael Thomas over there with the New Orleans Saints about. He's a slant king. Tajay Sharp has basically been that guy for the Falcons, and it hasn't failed us yet in doing so. So I would like to at least get Russell Gage back. The knock on Russell was, to all of us, is his injuries, and he can't stay healthy. That's been the issue. But if Calvin Ridley comes back, personal issue over, we don't trade him at the deadline. He's here, engaged. I'm curious then to see, are we going to go back to making Calvin Ridley that guy, and then Pitts, and then Gage? Or is this the official offense running through Pitts? Let's do it type of situation. That's the question.
You know what, Toby? I'm gonna go ahead. That's why I don't feel like the Falcons would, even if Calvin Ridley did one out, I don't think they would let him leave, because I put it to you like this: Calvin Ridley on the field makes the Falcons a league team, regardless. Like, my thing is, his body is so Like, I think when Julio left, everybody said, yep, Calvin Ridley has earned the ability to be a number one. Now, can he do it? Can he handle it? I think, to your point, we don't know enough yet about this team to really say long-term what they're willing to do. I think the one thing we can say is the offensive line is getting better.
Yep.
You know, it's incremental % better, right? Calvin Ridley's a Falcon. Matter of fact, you know what's funny is with Julio Jones, I've learned to go to Instagram to just check these guys' Instagram just to make sure he hadn't taken down all his pictures of the Falcons.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not unfollowing so-and-so. And he still says Atlanta Falcons receiver. So it's like, you know what? He's the receiver of this team. And, you know, let's hope whatever, like I said, whatever the personal issue is, it's behind him. And we got a lot of football to play once this bye is over with.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, dead up, like, you know, Calvin Ridley comes back, plays out. I mean, I still, until I see, like, him get signed to a new contract, there's still part of my mind that says, you know, Hayden Hurst will be cheaper than Calvin Ridley. And, you know, until he, like, really starts to show it. Because right now, as it stands right now, I will say he's not the wide receiver that we had at the end of the season last year. And you know, until he gets back into it, I'm not saying that he can't be. I'm just saying right now he's not. Okay?
Right.
I don't know if it's just, you know, him and Ryan ain't got on the same page. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's, you know, Arthur Smith is wanting him to play one type of way. He's playing a different. I don't know. But as through 4 games right now, I'm not super impressed with what Ridley has done being the number one. Okay?
Yeah.
So if it is time for, you know, Pitts to completely take over, I'll be interested to see what that progression does. Like right. Was the Jets game enough for Matt Ryan to go, all right, cool, this cat can do it all, and I'm gonna start force feeding him? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think that's fair on Kyle Pitts and his growth. I think that now I will say this: every time he catches a touchdown, he's gonna get stronger and stronger. You know, he's gonna keep powering up, because you could just tell once he touched that end zone, which he had done so many times at Florida, the game kind of slowed down. He looked around, stadium, took in what happened, probably got the game ball. It's his first moment, but you could just tell, man, you just feeding a monster. And we all see it. We see it every time he touches the ball. I don't think, even with Julio, I'm just, look, maybe you can call me a cynic at this point, call me crazy. But even with Julio looked good catching the ball. And, you know, we got so used to it over the years and stuff. But I wouldn't say as early. I felt this sense of calm sometimes. Every time you see Kyle Pitts catch a pass, or when I saw him catch the one-handed pass and bring it in.
One-handed pass, that thing was just
going. I'm like, man, it's still different. Like, Julio was different, and he was a freak of nature and alien, but this is a different kind of. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this at the tight end position, and that's kind of the point. That's why we got him at number 4.
Of course.
So.
You know, somebody's bringing up in chat talking about somebody named second time they put it out there. It says Joseph Nagata could be the replacement for Julio. I don't know who Joseph Nagata is. I haven't made it there yet.
Clemson. No. Okay, so let's
6'3".
Let's pump.
And he's talking about 6'3", 220. Okay, cool. Size, awesome. You know, I haven't gotten to the draft. My point was, the only reason why I brought it up, because you put it in there twice, which is, so anytime I see somebody repeat themselves, I try to get to it, but I ain't at the draft yet. You know.
Hey, Joseph, I'm real quick on him. Yeah. You know, just because he put it in there twice. Joseph Ngata, I probably butchered his name, but he needs to get his team from being unranked to ranked, you know, and that's not a shot at Clemson faithful. So he needs to get his team into a ranked position. Sorry, Jay, I spent way too much time on that.
And LaToya Gooden said sorry. Don't say sorry. No. Don't say sorry. When I say I'm not there yet, I'm just saying I don't know who you're talking about yet. You know, so it's hard for me to speak on it. Just because now I'm focused on the team that we got. But no, don't apologize.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, Anonymous says, if Pitts is number one option, Ridley will start to produce more, in my opinion. He played better behind Julio and had a good game, had a good stretch, but the league has adapted at this point. Pitts is fresh. It'll be interesting to see, like, if Pitts really starts commanding some attention, does that then open up stuff for, I mean, because would Tyreek Hill be Tyreek Hill for the Chiefs if Travis Kelce wasn't there? I don't know. I'm just, I'm throwing it out there. Like, is that the kind of dynamic you're looking for, right? Antonio Holloway says Arthur Smith likes his receiver physical and big-bodied. That'd be interesting. I mean, if that's the case, then you should start to see Frank Darby get the field, sooner rather than later, because he's a bigger-bodied, kind of guy. Let's see. Jay Strong H says MR2 was forced to use his other options, and it worked out well. Good win for us. That's part of it too. Like, hopefully that was a wake-up call for Ryan as well. Like, okay, I can trust these guys, And if that's the case, great. Awesome. Let's hope it continues. Millie Mills says, if it wasn't for the penalties, we would have blew the Jets out. If it wasn't for the 2 fumbles, we would have blown the Jets out.
Yeah.
At bare minimum, you come away with 6 more points. 6 more points, you're at what, 33? Is that right?
Yeah.
So you would win by 13. That's double digits right there. And it wouldn't have looked, and that 20 wasn't even like, you could consider that almost garbage, garbage points.
Yeah. Yeah. The Falcons penalties have been way down since week 1.
Quite a bit.
And that's one of the reasons why they've been able to drive the field and score when they get down there. I mean, the red zone, guys, has been amazing.
It has been awesome.
Since week 2, actually. Even though we lost that game, we still went 3 for 4 in the red zone against the Tampa Bay Bucks. And that has continued all the way through, where we've had 3 or 4 in the red zone out of the last 3 out of the 4 games that we played. And that's big time. That's one of the reasons why we brought Arthur Smith.
Exactly.
Because of his red zone prowess.
Yep. And it has definitely translated. And that's something that I am real happy to see. Because, I had that interview with Coach Sean McAvoy, and that was what he brought up. Because I flat out asked him, what's the deal with Ryan in the red zone? And his number one answer was play calling. He said play calling was the main issue. And, that's something that you've seen. Like, play calling has made a big deal, in the red zone. So it's awesome to see that translate. Let's see. I'm going to keep. Okay. Tony Wright says there's been no Jones for the last 2 games in Tennessee as he's been out with a hamstring. Tennessee plays this Monday night at home versus Buffalo. Let's see if he plays in that game. And that's, part of the deal, part of why you were only able to get a second round for him. He's an elder statesman as far as receivers are concerned. So it'll be interesting because out of curiosity, I looked. I still don't think he's got a touchdown. Like,
they are who?
Who?
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah. My bad. We talk about people that ain't on our team, ain't we?
Yeah. Who? Anyway.
No, you're right. Let's see. Oh man, we have bumped up well over an hour, gentlemen, already.
Oh, nice.
Let's get some more in here. Let's get some more. Rod B Channel says because we're starting to get more weapons this year, so that helps Matt. I think he's talking about just hoping the continuity continues. D'Lo Rivas says fantastic prognostication, gentlemen. But will you all be covering the Hawks?
I
I don't know enough about basketball, to be completely honest. I enjoy the Hawks, just like I am so glad to see the Braves are back in the NLDS, and I hope they win and go on to the World Series. That would be great. But all you're going to get out of me as far as the Hawks concerned is, boy, that Trae Young looks real good. I can't give you any real good detail about, I can't tell you what kind of offense they're running or what kind. It looks like basketball to me. Oddly enough, and look, whether y'all believe me or not, if you were to go back in my childhood and look at the hours logged playing a game, I have played more basketball than I have played anything else. because you could do that with 2 or 3 people, you know. But I don't know the details or intricacies of basketball. So maybe we'll just comment as the season goes on. Let's see. What else we got? Somebody, Big Truck Trap Star says Bulldogs. Bulldogs are looking very good.
Yes, sir.
Yes. As long as they're looking good, I'm gonna be an honorary Bulldogs fan this year.
Come on. We'll take all the room on the bandwagon. Matter of fact, with some of our fan base, but like, hey, if they go all the way, we might have to do a championship Bulldogs edition.
Yeah, I'll put it to you like this: if they go all the way, we will. We'll do a full like episode on the Bulldog season, because why not?
Oh yeah, all over that. You know, we love our dogs, but anyway, you know, this we another red team right now that we talking about. Right? Yeah.
Let's see. Anybody? Okay. William Amy says, I just want our defense to step up these 12 games after the bye. I think you're starting to see that cohesion on the defensive side of the ball as well. I mean, you only gave up, I know it was 20 points, but like you made some, you got your first interception, you got some sacks, you're bringing pressures. I think these guys are really starting to understand what Pease wants on that side of the ball. And I think you're going to start seeing it become a more like stable unit. So
I hope so.
Let's see.
I would.
Antonio Holloway says, I love the space eating Mike Pennell. We need that next to Grady. Yes, he played good when he got in there, and I think you'll probably start to see him more, and that pushes Tyler Davidson, to play better as well.
Yep.
So, all right, Woo-wee just tipped us $5, but didn't say nothing. Woo-wee, I need you to put something in there. That's how. Oh, here we go. And he says, love you guys. Great analysis. Keep it up. Look, we try to do what we can, right?
Thank you.
All right, we're going to start wrapping this thing up. Like I said before, no live show this Friday because there's no game to preview. We will have a video out on Saturday taking a real deep look at these first 5 games, the trends that we have seen, like really getting into the nuts and bolts of it. So that'll be up on Saturday. As always, you can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Grim1128, GRIMM1128. Mike Dub.
Hey, man, follow your boy Mike Dub, MIKE_DUB. Please keep following. I always appreciate the love. Toby D.
Toby D 1991, man.
Y'all
hit me up.
That's it. Y'all get a chance to relax this week, everybody. But as always, Falcons fans, let's just win.
Just win.
Pretty please.
Boom.